So on today's tutorial, we'll be making this beautiful tote bag. What do you think about this tote bag? It's giving, right? So guys, let's get right into the video. Welcome to my channel. My name is Blessing Anyedi, the creative director of Daffodilkrafts. In this channel, we talk about bags and head cares. If you're coming across my channel for the first time, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and turn on your notification bells. So to get this tutorial started, here are the tools you'll be needing: your scissors, your ruler, your measuring tape, your chalk or a marker, all right, and of course your sewing machine. Now the materials needed are this leather. It's called taphita. You need a lining or interface, okay, and you also need your belt for handle. This measures 1.5 inches, and then you need your zipper. This is zip clothing, and we also have the zip heads for this. Now let's get right into the cutting of the bag. So the first thing you want to cut is the body of the bag. The body of the bag, we need 2 pieces for the body of the bag, the front and the back. Before we start, I just cut out this rough edge here because it's actually not needed. So the measurement for the body of this bag is 12 by 12 inches for the length and 12 inches for the width. So now it depends on how big or small you want your bag to be. You can either increase the size or reduce the size. So after marking, I connected the dots and cut it out. So after cutting, you should have this. The next thing you want to do now is fold this in half to make sure that you have all sides equal. Remember, we're using the squared shape, so since it is square shaped, all sides are supposed to be equal. So when you fold it like this, you will notice that there's an excess. As you can see at that point, there's an extra there, so all you have to do is just cut that excess out. But if you fold and you don't have any of those excess, then it means that it's straighter enough. Now you're going to measure half an inch on both sides, okay, half an inch from on both sides, and then you're going to make a slanted line from that top you measured down to the bottom part to give it shape. You're basically doing this to give it shape, all right? Please take note that while you do this, the measurement, your actual measurement, is going to reduce, which is why I said earlier that whatever measurement you want to use, try to add an inch or half an inch to it. So after cutting now, you notice that the top now measures 11, but the down part still has 12 inches, so the top part has reduced, and you need 2 pieces of this. You're going to repeat the same cutting on the second part of the body. So we have our front and back ready. So we're going to keep one aside and we're going to be working on the front pocket right now. So for the front pocket, you are going to measure 3 inches away from the top, okay, because we don't want the pocket to start at the top. So we're going to measure 3 inches away from the top. So the remaining 9 inches, that's where we'll be carrying the front pocket. This is the pocket already cut out. So you have 9 inches for the length and 12 inches for the width. So we're going to keep this aside and work on the gusset. For the gusset, I mean the side and the bottom part of the bag. So for the gusset, to be measuring 12.5 inches by 6 inches. Remember, the original measurement for the bag is 12 inches. So we'll be measuring 12.5 inches plus seam allowance. The half inch is for seam allowance. 12.5 inches, then 6 inches for the width. So take note that we need 3 pieces of this, 2 for the sides and 1 for the bottom, all right? So the gusset has its own pocket by the 2 sides. So the measurement for this pocket is 6.5 inches for the width and 8 inches for the length. The reason why we're using 6.5 inches for the width is because we need a space in between, okay? We need a space. Just watch out what I'm doing. You need a space in between where your hand can fit in. When you put something in the pocket, you can easily just access it. So take note that the top of the pocket and the down part are not going to have the same measurements, okay? The top measures 6.5. The down part is going to carry the exact measurements as the gusset, which is 6 inches, but the top will be measuring 6.5 inches. So this is me marking the pocket to make sure that I have my 6 inch at the top and then 6.5 at the down part. So we're going to draw a slanty line from top to bottom. So after doing this, the top part will be measuring 6 inches while the down part will be measuring 6.5 inch. So I notched to get the midpoint before drawing my slant line. We have our gusset pockets ready, and we need 2 pieces of this for both sides of the gusset. All right, so now here's everything we've cut out. We cut out 2 body pieces, we also cut out the front pocket, we cut out 3 gusset parts, then we also cut out the 2 side pockets for the gusset. Now we're going to be working with the back body part because the bag has a pocket at the back side. Okay, and this pocket here is an inner pocket. It's not like the front side pocket. This is an inner pocket, so we'll be using lining for this. So watch how I fix the inner pocket. I'll be making a separate video showing you how you can make your inner pocket for any kind of bag at all. I'll be doing that in a separate video, but if you take your time to watch this gently, you'll understand what I'm doing here. So after marking, you just connect your dots. Okay, then you cut a little piece of lining, a little piece, something that will cover the space for the line you just drew. So once you get that little piece of lining, you're going to be sewing it in front, not at the back. But first off, you want to notch your material to get the midpoint, and we're also going to be notching the lining to get the midpoint. So I notched the top and the bottom of this material. Okay, now you get your lining. So this is the small piece. So we're not sewing this on the back. Like I said, we're going to be sewing it at the front part. This part right here is the back side, so we'll be sewing the small lining on the front side of your material. So I did that to get the middle point. So there's a line after folding like that and stretching it. There's a line in between, so that's the line I'll be working with, and I'm using my finger to hold that part so I know that okay, this is where I'm supposed to fix the lining on. So you put it like so, and then I'm going to be using my pins to pin it down so it doesn't move while I take it to my sewing machine to sew it. So this is me pinning the lining to the material. So after pinning, you take this to your sewing machine and sew on the line, on the marked line. So we're done sewing. The next thing we want to do is remove the pins. All right, so after removing the pins, now what we're going to do next is fold this in half. All right, fold this in half like so. Then the part where we sew, we're going to cut through at the middle. Make sure wherever you are cutting is in the middle. You're going to cut through like so. Watch how I do this. So after cutting to a point, you're going to flip it open like this. Then you continue cutting, but you won't cut through to the end. Please take note. You cut down to a certain point, then you're going to bend it and then make a triangular shape. Just follow that line, cut it, but as you're cutting, don't cut through the place the part you sewed. Don't cut through it. Just give it a little bit of cut inside. Don't cut it too much. Make sure it doesn't go more than where it's supposed to. So you're going to repeat the same thing on the other side. After cutting, you're going to have a triangular shape. If you don't have that triangular shape, then you did it wrong. Okay, so doing like that, and we're done with the cutting. So this is what you should have once you finish doing this. So you should have something like this. So this other part comes inside like this. All right, this is what it should look like. So to proceed, we're going to flip this over to the right side, and we're going to turn all this in, everything. We're going to turn it in like so. So once you succeed in flipping all this in, all right, so to put it in place, you're going to get your pin this down so you can easily sew. Take it to your sewing machine and then sew it. Please watch how I do this carefully. So we're done pinning, and once you finish pinning this, you should have this. Okay, it should look like this. There should be a space in between, and this is where your zipper now comes in. All right, so we're going to get our zip and measure the exact length we want for this. We have our zipper now. Our zipper will be fixed behind and not in front, so this is me just checking the length of the zipper I want, and then I'm going to cut out the excess. So now I have this, and I'm going to place in my zip head. I'll attach my zip head to it first before sewing it to the bag. So now we have our zip head attached to the zip clothing. We're going to take this to our machine and sew it. But for easy sewing, just get your pin the zip down, attach it to the material before you go ahead and do your sewing. Obviously I didn't do that, but please do this to make your work easier. So this is me sewing it down using my sewing machine. Please, while you are doing this sewing, don't fold in too much, because if you do that, it's going to reduce the size of the bag. By the time you measure, instead of having your 12-inch, might reduce to like 11, and you don't want that. So just a little bit of folding, then you do your sewing. So we're done sewing, and you should have this. Okay, so before we proceed, you want to get your scissors and cut out the excess zipper like so. Not the lining, please, mind you, just the zipper. So after cutting out the excess zipper, the next thing you want to do is get your lining now for the pocket. But before then, you're going to measure to know the width of your pocket. So the width here is 9.5 inch, that's 9.5, and then the length is 10 inch. Now the length depends on how long you want your pocket to be, like how deep you want your pocket to be. So mind you, my lining is folded in two, so meaning if I flip it over, since I'm using 10, I'm going to be having 20, because 10 plus 2 is 20. But since it's folded in two, I just measured 10. All right, so now we're going to cut this out and take it to the bag. So what you want to do now is take this lining, put it at the top, that extra space you have there, right? So you're going to pin it down, because you're going to take this to your sewing machine and sew. So you're going to pin it. So after pinning that, you're going to flip your lining over like this, take the other end, and then also pin it down to the down part like so. Please watch so you understand what I'm doing. Take this to your sewing machine and sew those parts that you just pinned together. So I'm done sewing, and I have this. Now take note, if you notice, you see that I sewed down also. That's because after joining it, I realized that the length is longer than what I want. It's actually longer than the material, than my leather, I mean to say. So I sew this, and then I'll be cutting out the excess. Now we're going to sew the sides. So you hold it together like so, and then take it to your sewing machine and just give it a straight stitch on both sides, on that side and the other side, and basically our pocket is ready. Now we'll go to the other parts of the bag. We'll be attaching the front pocket, and for the front pocket it's just the normal way you attach your normal zip. Basically sew on the pocket and attach it to the main body of the bag. That's basically it. All right, the only difference here is that I actually used lining to turn the zipper and the leather so that the rough edge from the zipper won't show inside the bag. So here, although attaching the zipper, the lining and the leather, the next thing you want to do is top stitch. So cut the lining and sew it to the other end of the zipper before attaching it to your bag. We're done sewing the front zipper. Watch how I attach it to the front body of the bag. After sewing that part, flip it over and top stitch also. Then our front pocket is actually ready. Okay, so this is what it should look like. The next thing you want to do now is get your corset, and we're going to be sewing the side pockets to it. While you're at it, don't forget that the down part, the smaller part, is the down part, while the wider side it goes to the top. Okay, so but before then, we're going to be attaching lining to the pocket before we're going to sew in lining to the pocket before attaching it to the gusset. So after cutting the lining, you're going to turn it right side facing each other. Okay, please, I made a mistake here. This part where I'm sewing right now is not where I'm supposed to sew. I'm supposed to sew the down part. Okay, the wider side is where you sew. That's the top of the pocket. Okay, so please, I corrected it later when I would go to my sewing machine, but it's not captured here. So after sewing, you're going to flip it over like this and then top stitch. So I'll show you the correct way to do it now. So this is how you're supposed to sew it. It's all sewn here. You can see that I sewed the wider part. The wider part is where I turned it over and top stitched, not the down part. Okay, so after sewing, you just trim out and your pocket is ready. You're going to repeat the same process on both sides. So you have your two pockets ready. Now you're going to attach it to the gusset of your bag. So it's already notched. So you also get the gusset and notch it also to get the midpoint. Now we have our gusset here. So we're going to notch it to get to the midpoint. Once you get your midpoint, you're going to attach the pocket to it using the midpoint as a guide. So we're going to take this to our machine now. So please mind you, while you're sewing, you're going to be raising, make sure your notch meets, and then you're going to be raising it like so. Yes, that's how you're going to do it. And you sew, then you raise the other side also and sew, so you're not cutting out anything. So when you do it like that, you have that access the space you need in the middle. So here we're done. As you can see, it's coming up exactly like this. So this is what you should have. So you have that space in the middle, which gives you access to the pocket. Now we're basically done with the pocket. So the next thing you want to do now is that you're going to get the bottom part, then we're going to attach the both sides of the pocket of the gusset to the bottom part. So while you attach, this is what you should have. Then you take it to your sewing machine and just join it together like so. Please make sure that the right sides are facing each other. After sewing, I'll show you what it looks like. So here we're done sewing, and this is what you should have. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is sew the handle to the bag. So we're going to be sewing the handle now. So we're going to get our belt, okay, and for the handle we're using 26 inches. You can make this longer depending on how you want the handle of your bag to be, or even shorter. So I burnt the rough edges so it doesn't fray before attaching it to my bag. So we've gotten the body of the bag and then the handle of the bag. So what you want to do now is that you're going to be folding the burnt part in a little bit before putting it to the bag and sewing. So the part where the two fingers are pointing at measures 2 inches away from the handle. So you do measure on this part and measure on the back body part also. So we'll be stopping here for now, and I'll see you in the next video. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Bye.